right, so Rose Bowl, your guys' thoughts on how that played out. Derek, why don't you go ahead and start?
I think the key play to this game, I watched this game, and I think one of the biggest difference makers was right before the half, Oklahoma put in a touchdown and kicked some type of pooch onside.
Meant to be a squib, maybe?
It was like a meant to be squib gone wrong.
Yeah.
And Georgia had like 17 seconds.
Not even. There were like 7 seconds.
Was there 7 seconds?
I think so.
7?
They ran one play and then kicked it.
They ran one play and got a field goal to make it a 2-possession game. So instead of 31-14, it was 31-17. I think that changed the game because Georgia came out in the half and Oklahoma did not score until like midway through the fourth quarter.
Definitely, yeah. That definitely played a part in momentum.
But I love what you said where it was back and forth. There was times when I was like, this is Oklahoma's game. They're going to win it.
Went up huge in the first half.
There was times when I was like, this is Georgia's game. They're going to win it. Went to overtime. Oklahoma's kicker looked like he had just seen a ghost.
Yeah, he wanted no part of this.
He did not want to be involved.
I thought he was missing every single
He was like expecting Baker Mayfield to walk that one in for him. And when I saw his face, I was like, I told my dad, I was like, he's going to miss. Made the first one. Watched him walk out there again with looked like zero confidence added from his kick before. Got that blocked, and that ended up being the reason why they lost.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Georgia's halftime adjustments. I think we saw Baker Mayfield struggle. He was picking the zone apart in the first half, like just shredding Georgia's zone. And then you saw Georgia go more man against Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield struggled. I think we talked about how Baker Mayfield's a shorter quarterback. Georgia's got to be one of the longer defensive lines that he would have faced all season. And I think he got lost. I honestly think he couldn't see a couple plays. And I was just really impressed with Georgia's halftime adjustments.
Yeah, Kirby Smart said it at halftime when he was walking off. Whoever the sideline reporter was asked him kind of what was going wrong, basically, because they gave up 31 points in the first half. This is one of the best defenses in the country.
Yeah.
And he basically said, look, this is our fault as coaches. We're not putting them in enough position to play well and to succeed and putting them in a position where they can win this game and make plays. And he also said that he felt like they were playing nervous and that they weren't being themselves. And you saw a completely different team come out in the second half. And so there's going to be a lot of people that I've heard a lot of people talking about how, yes, Oklahoma scored 48 points on Georgia, which was this great defense, and they are a great defense. What we saw in the second half was closer to their actual defense. I thought the defense they've been playing all season, with aggressive blitzing, getting pressure on the quarterback, and almost impossible to run the ball against them. Oklahoma scored 17 points in the second half still.
One was a scoop and score, though, right?
One was a scoop and score. Yeah. And so just night and day difference between the two halves for Georgia.
Yeah.
That squib kick did play a big part. You go from 3 possessions to 2 possessions in 7 seconds. And you come out, they get a 3 and out the first possession, they go down and score their first possession.
It's a momentum killer, too.
Yeah.
You just got a touchdown,
killer.
and then they end up with the last points of the half.
And look, I've said this on this show for weeks. This is why I picked TCU. I thought TCU would beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. When you have a defense as bad as theirs is, it rears its ugly head. Oh. And it always seems like that happens at the worst time possible. And for them, it was this entire game. Look, Georgia scored in every quarter. They scored at least one touchdown in every quarter. And they had 317 rushing yards on 34 carries. Okay, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel both averaged over 10 yards a carry. I mean, 11 carries, 181 yards for Sony Michel.
Too many
and 3 touchdowns.
Too many big plays.
Yeah, huge runs. Sony Michel had a 75-yard touchdown run, and Nick Chubb had a 50-yard touchdown run. And so that's what I'm saying. That's what I had been saying this entire every time we've been doing this podcast, is that when you have a bad defense, it comes back to haunt you in big games like this. And, I mean, Georgia's defense, like I said in the first half, did not play well. I can't say enough about Jake Fromm.
Oh, my goodness.
Who's in high school a year ago. He was at senior prom 1 year ago.
Unconscious.
20 for 29, 210 yards, two touchdowns, QBR of 60.
Yeah, I want the Broncos to draft him.
Got to wait a couple of years.
Yeah, for real.
But I can't explain to you how impressed I was with him.
Yeah.
No moment was too big. He was a flatliner out there. Mm-hmm. Never got too high or too low. He just went out and played. And with the way they were running, he didn't need to throw the ball that much. Just on a few third downs. He converted a couple huge third downs on that last drive when they went down to score after the scoop and score. Just can't say enough about how big that guy played. And as a Florida Gator fan, it scares the crap out of me because he's a true freshman. He's going to be here for at least 2 more years.
Yeah. I thought Oklahoma man, when they went to overtime and held Georgia to a field goal, first OT, I'm like,
I thought that might be it.
This is it. Like, Oklahoma's defense, bend, don't break. All right. And I thought it was really weird play calling, 3 straight handoffs. I mean, you got the best player in college football.
Really conservative.
Well, that second one, they got 5 yards on their first carry.
Yeah.
And then they went and threw the ball. It's like,
Yeah, I was like,
run
the
ball
first
again.
overtime, they just ran it, and didn't do anything. And then the second overtime, it was just really bizarre. I think the inexperience of Lincoln Riley, right?
The head coach.
The head coach of Oklahoma. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but you'd like to see the ball more in Baker Mayfield's hands, especially in that
When
first
you get in
overtime.
situations like that, you have to let it's either get the ball to your best player or put the ball in his hands and let him make a decision of what to do.
Exactly.
And the play calling down the stretch negated that completely.
Mm-hmm.
It was, what you're supposed to do with the ball. This is what you're supposed to do. Whereas a player of his caliber, you got to let the competitor in him react and play.
And what killed me is the Oklahoma offense could not do anything in the second half. They had that one drive. They marched the whole field in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and it was all Baker Mayfield. So the only success that they had on the offensive end in the second half was essentially through Baker Mayfield. And then you get to overtime, and they just kind of bailed, I felt like.
Yeah, he played good, not great, I didn't think. He went 23 for 35 for 287, 2 touchdowns, a pick.
Yeah.
That pick kind of came when Georgia was sieging Oklahoma in the third quarter. Yeah. Just completely overthrew a receiver, but he caught a touchdown pass as well. And so he played good, not great. I think he could have played much better in the second half. And had he played a little bit better in the second half, they'd probably win that game.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, Georgia moving on after winning an epic Rose Bowl. Had there been probably a combined maybe 20 less points in that game, I would probably say that's the best game ever. Because it's hard for me. It's hard for me when there's that many points scored. To me, a great game, there's points got to be a little bit more of a premium. It was still fun to watch. I'm not complaining.
But that second half was probably better because there was stops.
Yeah, there were stops.
First half, it was just like
both teams made some stops.
Just,
everyone was just scoring in the first half. But great game nonetheless. Kirby Smart, in only his second year as head coach of Georgia, taking him to the national championship game with a true freshman quarterback. Can't say enough about that. Video, if you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We release new videos throughout the week. Or you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or you can email us at thesportsroomtalkshow@gmail.com. Make sure you subscribe. Watch more videos just like this one.